Signore e signori, abbiamo più influenza, sui tuoi figli di te. Molly amiamo creato e iniziato da New Jersey. Last week today lived presentato da Filtastic, Comics and Art.
Let's fucking go.
Hello, everybody. Even though I think I might be the only one. Oh, no, here's David. And Las Cruces was here earlier. How is it going? I just blew my eardrums out because apparently the volume on my phone is way up and I'm wearing my earpods this morning. Oh, sorry, I have it also going on my iPad here just to be able to chat a little bit. But no, it's good. We got some people coming in. We have a guest on their way. Our guest is actually waiting in the back room. That's okay. I'm going to give him a couple minutes just to warm up while we say hello to everyone and see what's going on this Saturday. I've had my little espresso drink, so I'm ready to go. I almost was going to have another thing of coffee, and I was like, nope, your eyeballs, no, your eyeballs are going to blow out of your skull if you do that right now. So with me on the other side of the room is my lovely wife. Want to say hi, honey?
Hi.
I don't know if you can hear her because she's and my son, who's being very, very quiet right now, and I appreciate that because he will probably start doing what a toddler does in no time. But enough about that. Let's see who is here. Las Cruces, of course, first one in. How are you, sir? Representing all of New Mexico. It's kind of like, I guess, to stay on point with some of the recent news topics, he's kind of like the Miss America pageant. Las Cruces is representing all of New Mexico. I thought that was going to be funnier. I think he kind of pulled it as I was kind of coming out of it, but there you go. It happens. Uncanny D-Man, how are you, David, in Arizona? FBP, another great cover battle this morning. I got in there a little bit late. Had to do some Trader Joe's stuff. I have two guests. What's going on here? Uh-oh. Let's see. Yeah. I had a little bit of a Trader Joe's thing and getting ready for Mother's Day. We have to extend Mother's Day for the whole weekend just to make sure we get everything here. C. Bizzle, how are you doing this morning, sir? Couching and slouching. And I'm on my couch here too, so there we go. Trev, good morning. And Evil's also here. You can catch Trev, Evil, and I along with Steve the Voice White and Norin Rad Comics later tonight at 9 p.m. on Evil's channel, where we're going to be doing our Dark Tower, I guess you could say, I don't want to say review, but just like our little online book club. And sooner than later, you may see an episode where I am just so tired, I pass out live on air. Will it be today? Will it be next time? Who knows? You'll have to tune in to watch. Isn't that a hell of a tease? Watch a guy in Jersey just fall asleep online. Let's see. I know how to sell it. I think. Neil, how are you, sir? That's the thing? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Circumstances. Marcus, how are you, sir? I'm still working on a little something, a bit of a tribute for Marcus. He doesn't know about that unless he's listening to me right now, but it's been in the works, like with 100 other things that are in the works. Let's see. Brian LCS, how are you, sir? We have to have Brian on soon to talk about his Kickstarter for The Doctor. And if you don't know, Brian has launched his Kickstarter. Go on, back him up. I think he was only like $200 away from funding at this point. But yeah, go ahead. It's Brian. It's a great premise. Go for it. Cuppy, how you doing, sir? I have to catch up on Cuppy's stuff. It's okay. Just pretend you're surprised. Knowing my luck, I'm probably going to wait so long that everybody, including myself, forgets. I can cancel. Don't cancel. I don't know what you're canceling. Loving this one. Okay. Oh, the book? No. A little tough. Oh, he is 100% now? Okay, well, still, if you haven't funded it, go ahead. You know, Brian is our guy. Go ahead and do that. You know, go ahead and back our people up. That's what we're about. Look, I know Kickstarters are kind of strange. Within our community, I should say, it's kind of like those hard seltzer drinks, rather. You know, one day there's none of them. The next day you turn around and there's like 800 of them. That's okay. You know, pick and choose. You know your finances. You know what you like. Look, you don't need all 60 issues of Blood Hunt, okay? Maybe take like half of what you're going to spend on Blood Hunt and back your boy. So that's my hard push for Brian there. And speaking of which, I'm going to have Doug on next week, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So let me go ahead and get our guest here. Okay. So I have to think of a good introduction now. Okay. Things that should have been done probably before this, but I'm going to say this. One of the great things about comics, specifically, I guess you could say since the pandemic, is the people that you meet both in person and online. And I'm very happy to bring this guy on. This is somebody I've wanted to bring on for a long time. This is someone who took our passion for comics, the impact it had on his life, which we're going to get into in a little bit, and also just used it to do a whole lot of good in this world. So I could gush about that for a while, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring on our buddy Sean. Here you go. And there you go, Sean. Get to stage. How are you, sir?
Greetings and salutations. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. You're in the famed Cooking with Studio kitchen / studio / a little bit of everything here.
Hey, I got everything. It's like a comic book store and Toys R Us threw up in my house. It's ridiculous. But representing Fat Moose Comics today, Speculator's Tears.
You know, it's funny. I was thinking of Sean earlier. Sean Hendricks, the owner of our LCS, Fat Moose Comics, oldest one in New Jersey, which I have to mention every time. Yes.
Yep.
Because last night, when we had the YouTube machine on our TV here, there was a short that popped up. Some random guy, I've never seen him before, will never see him since, who was talking about Blood Hunt and showed he has like 4 copies of every single variant that came out. And I was like, he's not a Fat Moose shopper. He wouldn't be allowed to do that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We live off of Speculator's Tears.
But I didn't want to bring up Sean's channel in this, but go ahead and check out Fat Moose on YouTube because he's quite hilarious. The funny thing is not only is his scripted stuff funny, but when he gets annoyed at some of the things he sees come shop, that's also equally hilarious.
Yeah, Sean is a great guy, great comic book store. The very first comic book store I ever went to in my life. I will always support him in everything he ever needs done. He just has to call and I show up. That's my thing.
Same here. That being said, I know I have to go pick up my comics. I've been very delinquent in that. But let me give you a brief introduction because I know that your show right now is just on Facebook. So our YouTube community here might not be aware of Cooking with Stupid. How would you? I got into you through the auctions, and then I kind of jump in when you do your cooking shows. But why don't you go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about Cooking with Stupid?
So, Cooking with Stupid is something me and my now wife, Bobby, we started doing this about Thank you. We started this about 6.5 years ago now. And honestly, it just started out one night. We went live on Facebook. I had been drinking, let's be honest, and I was making my famous chili. And a lot of people were like chiming in, you should do a cooking show, you should do a cooking show. One thing led to another. Here we are 6.5 years later. We've got a lot of support from the comic book community. Like Phil was saying, we do auctions. So throughout the year, we'll do various charity auctions. And I'll get sketch covers done by people in the community. A lot of toy vendors, they donate stuff to us. And we just auction it all off. 100% of the proceeds go right to whatever charity we pick. We've been doing the auctions for 3.5 years now. We've raised over $58,000 for different charities. Little pat on the back for that one. And yeah, I want to say it's good, clean, wholesome fun we do on the show, but Phil, you've seen some of our episodes. It's not.
Yes.
I've said it 1,000 times during the show. I am in no way, shape, or form a classically trained chef. I'm just a guy that likes to entertain people, share my fun, unique recipes. But please do not have small children watch the show. It's called Cooking with Stupid for a reason.
Headphones are a must. I have to say. I may be a man who speaks from experience. Why don't we say that?
Yeah. But being that it is a live cooking show, I mess up every once in a while. I've made mistakes. So we have this thing on the show. It's called the Spinning Wheel of Doom.
I was just going to get into
and
that.
Whenever I mess up a recipe live on the show, we spin this thing, and whatever punishment comes up, I have to do. So far, I've been electrocuted twice. I've been whacked. I've done the one chip challenge. I've done a hot sauce roulette. Annually, I get shot with paintballs. So picture if you had like Gordon Ramsay and Jackass mixed together. That's kind of like the vibe we go for. But yeah, it's my therapy doing this show. We've helped a lot of people in the past who I will never meet. We've helped some of our viewers out personally. I know we had a woman a few years ago. She was battling breast cancer. We raised a couple of $1,000s for her. Fat Moose Comics alone. Sean had just taken over the store ownership of Fat Moose right when the pandemic hit. And, it's the oldest comic book store in New Jersey. It's hands down 42 years strong now. But he was, in fear of shutting down his shop. So we banded together. We did an auction right out of his shop that night. And to date, it was the best one we've done so far. We did over $2,000 that one night just for Sean.
Let me just add to that too for you. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just because we have people all over the country and some in Canada. Just so you guys know, here in New Jersey, our restrictions, what we were allowed and not allowed to do, especially at the very start of the pandemic, were a lot stricter than other states. You couldn't have, I think at one point it was more than 50 people in a grocery store. If you were deemed a non-essential business, you couldn't open. So, there were a lot of LCSs, a lot of businesses, not even just LCSs, that either didn't make it or who were extremely nervous at that point. And that's actually how I was introduced to Cooking with Stupid, because Sean was like, hey, look, even if you don't buy something, just check in. And you did that actually with a few LCSs. I'm sure they all appreciated that so much.
Yeah, we did Fat Moose Comics in Whippany, New Jersey. We did East Side Mags in Montclair, New Jersey. We did a little something for Dewey's Comic City, which at the time was in Madison, New Jersey. But yeah, a lot of friends of mine, they had their own businesses. Comic book conventions shut down. I remember East Coast Comic Con.
Yeah,
he never came back. He never recovered from the pandemic. But Garden State Comic Fest, my favorite convention. If you're in New Jersey in the month of June, I highly suggest going to Garden State Comic Fest. They are hands down the best comic convention I've ever been to. June 22nd and 23rd at Menon Arena. But yeah, I owe a great debt of gratitude towards Garden State Comic Fest for helping open the door for me to get a lot of these comic book guests on our show, to do these sketch covers for us, because I get tons of stuff all the time. I get some really cool things on my show, and I don't keep any of it. It all just gets auctioned off. And I've earned a lot of respect from the comic book community, doing what we do. But yeah, I wish I could keep some of the stuff, man. Some of the stuff's just awesome.
Oh yeah.
We went to Tom Mandrake's house one time, and he just handed me a box of stuff. I was like, I just wanted a sketch cover. We've had, you can see the poster of mine in the background. We've had some pretty cool guests on the show. Scott Hanna has been here. Rags Morales has been here. Lloyd Briggery, Keith Williams. Kevin Eastman did a sketch cover for us out in California. I mean, during the pandemic, he had to mail it out to us, but still, thank you very much, Kevin, for doing that for us. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I never realized how, it makes a whole lot of sense, but I never really realized how much our area is linked so much into the actual professional comic artist community. Really, until at that point. Because at that point, too, when Sean took over the shop, there's like, oh, yeah, Tom Hunter was in and this. And then you realize, oh, yeah, like all these guys kind of live around here. You got the Kubert School.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very grateful that everybody's very local to us. That helps out a lot, too.
Yeah.
I don't exactly have a budget to fly like Rob Layfield out to my house for a show.
I feel like if Layfield ever came out to your house, though, he'd be like, I'm not leaving.
Yeah, pretty much. We've had a couple of really big major guests, so I'm not gonna name drop here, but we've had some major guests lined up, and then the pandemic hit, so we had to cancel everybody. A couple of Hollywood actors were on par to come on. Think the MCU, and we'll just leave it at that. But contracts, I'm not allowed to say anything about who was supposed to be here. Star Wars. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. We do this. Like I said, it's my therapy. Probably the coolest thing we've ever done with the show, though. Years ago.
The chortle?
No, not the chortle. This is going to be the life we saved, actually. A few years ago, people message me randomly throughout the day. And I had this one random girl one time, and she messaged me. She goes, hey, thank you so much for doing your show. I really like it. And I was like, oh, you're welcome. Just typing back. I go, what was your favorite episode? And she said, the one I didn't kill myself. And I immediately sent this girl my phone number. And I reached out to her. We talked until like 5 o'clock in the morning that night. And I got her linked up to a depression bipolar support group in her area. And we talked all the time for like 2 years. And one day, like a week or two had gone by, I hadn't talked to her. And then her mother called me. And unfortunately, the young woman had succumbed to her problems, her issues, and she had taken her own life. But her mother was calling me to thank me for giving her family an extra 2 years with their daughter. And like I said, it's a stupid show we do, but that moment, it made me feel so small in what we do here. But the bigger picture is, no matter what we do, no matter how much money we raise for charity, there's always that one person that might be watching our show that we changed their lives for the better. Unfortunately, she's no longer with us, but it was a very moving moment for me that night.
Yeah.
Because I struggle with my own demons as well, which is another reason why we do this show, because it helps me forget about my problems for a little while, and obviously it helps other people forget about their problems for a while. But it was a moving point during the career, as you will, of Cooking with Stupid, and it just really meant a lot that happened. And yeah. I'm not crying today. I am not crying.
We're not crying before noon on a Saturday morning. Come on.
No, I haven't even finished my damn coffee yet.
And I'll say this too. Look, I know in the times that we're still kind of dipping our toes in, it's very easy to feel isolated and alone and whatnot. But I could tell you that's how I know a lot of us here, just like on YouTube, connected. Like, look, there's 10 people who popped into this room like within the past 20 minutes or so that I was like, I would be like, hey, if you guys live closer, come on over. But, it's just kind of weird how things like comics and superheroes and the things that we just kind of are attracted to in life, or that we gravitate to, is probably a better way of saying it. just kind of link us all together. My wife's laughing at that. She didn't hear the story with the head because I have my headphones on, but you have, oh, good. Trev is actually sharing the link to the Facebook show here. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, Trev is, let me tell you something. He's not just a shipping guru. He's an all-around guru. I'm
about as tech savvy as a freaking garden rock. So this took me a couple minutes to figure out how to make this happen.
Oh, yeah. No, look, and this is none of me. This is all StreamYard. And I have pretty much a very bare bones kind of setup. I'm just a guy talking on my phone, and hopefully people watch, because if not, then it's just me talking to myself in my living room today.
Yeah.
But there we go. Now, you went into a story how you affected someone, and we did talk about, all the charity work. You have what I thought is a borderline. I didn't say borderline. It is a beautiful story about how a comic actually saved your life, and he's showing it right there. So why don't you go right into it?
Okay, so this is the actual comic, by the way. New Teen Titans #1. So my whole life, I didn't have it easy, and I'm not going to sit here and cry a river for everybody. But I had a little difficulties growing up as a child. And my escapism, because I was a kid, was comic books and cartoons. Saturday morning cartoons. That's how I lived my life. And I always read comic books. As I got older, my life got a little bit more difficult. I discovered the magical world of drugs. And I can tell you right now, from the years of 1987 up to about 1998, I have no recollection of my life. I had at that point a $2,000 a week cocaine heroin habit, and I stopped reading comic books. So my friend at the time, my dealer, he called me up one day, and he goes, "Hey, I got a new batch. You want in?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. Where do you want to meet?" And he goes, "Oh, let's meet at that comic book store that you used to hang out at," which was Fat Moose Comics at the time. And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I show up. He was running late, and right there, sitting on the spinner rack, was this bad boy. And it was just sitting there. I just looked at it, and I was very drawn into the cover. A bunch of teen kids. I'm a Batman fan, tried and true. And there's Robin front and center on the cover. So it's like, what the hell? And I bought it. It was like maybe $1.50 at the time. I roll it up, put it in my back pocket, call it a day. My buddy shows up, gives me my drugs, and I go back to my place, and I'm getting my fix ready, and I'm looking on the coffee table, and there's the book, and there's my drugs. And I'm just back and forth, back and forth. So I pick up the comic book, and I just started reading it. I got so engrossed in the story and the artwork that I went back to Fat Moose Comics, and this is back in the day, guys, when books weren't like $3 or $4 a pop, and I must have spent about $300 on comic books.
Which
and I'm just
that was
a lot.
For that time. I mean, that'd be like, give or take.
That was like a long box.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, and I just bought a ton of comic books, and I'm banging them out, and I'm reading them. And then my dealer calls me up, and he goes, "Hey, did you do that fix I gave you?" And I said, "No, why?" He goes, "It was a bad batch. I killed 3 people."
Oof.
So because of a comic book, I'm still here. Because of this little guy right here. It saved my life. And I was given the opportunity years later to finally meet Marv Wolfman and George Perez. And I got them to sign this book. Now, I've been offered a lot of money for this thing. I will never slab it. I read this every year on my anniversary of getting clean. And it's still in the original bag and board. You see the Fat Moose sticker. Let me get that right. You see the Fat Moose sticker.
That was during the Elon days, too.
Yeah, back in the Elon days, the original owner of Fat Moose. But every year, I read that book, and it's just hanging on my wall. It's got, it's bagged and boarded, but I just stick a pin in it, and it's just hanging on my wall, my infamous wall of heroes.
Mm.
But I got the opportunity to meet George and Marv and tell them that story, and they were both just so taken back by it. And then, fast forward a little later, George announces that he was terminally ill, and I was heartbroken, because these two men, these were my heroes. Obviously, I mean, they saved my life. And I was devastated because, your heroes are never supposed to die.
Yeah.
Just like in the comic books, superheroes die all the time. # Jean Grey. But they always come back. And I was, it tore my world apart, but I stayed strong. I could have gotten back into bad habits, but I never will. Every day it's a struggle for me. I'm not going to lie. On top of being a recovering drug addict, I also have PTSD. I suffer from severe anxiety. I'm bipolar type 2. So every day is it's a pain in the ass for me to just get out of bed. But it was nice that I finally got to thank them both for what they did for me. And like on occasion, I'll still talk to Marv. We email each other back and forth about recipes for an Instapot. We never talk about comic books. We talk about recipes, which is hysterical. But before, last thing I'm going to bang out.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Before he passed, George had reached out to me, and he wanted to thank me so much for telling him that story about how much his art meant to me, how much it helped develop me into the person I am today. And that was one of the most quintessential moments I've ever had in my life, that he stopped everything in his world to thank me when all the thanks were to him. But yeah, for anybody, if you're in the industry, if you're an artist or writer, to you guys, it's a job, but to some stupid little kid out there who's going through something you don't know, it could mean the world to them.
Oh yeah.
And that's probably the most important lesson I can instill on anybody in the industry. Keep working at your craft. Whether you're an artist, penciler, inker, or writer, it doesn't matter. The more you put into it, the more it could mean to somebody else out there. You never know. I'm living proof.
Precisely. And, hey, in case, I'm sure you hear this all the time, but in case nobody has said it, I guess, in the past couple hours here, we're glad you read that comic.
Yeah.
And we're glad
April
that you're
15th.
here.
Yeah, April 15th. I read this thing every day or every year. Ironically, that's Sean Hendrick's birthday too, from Fabulous Comics. So it's weird how that whole thing came into full circle. I bought the comic at Fat Moose. I celebrate my anniversary of being clean on April 15th, which is the birthday of the current owner of Fat Moose Comics. It's just really weird how that all worked out.
I have a different connection with that, with April 15th too, besides Tax Day, of course. That's actually my father-in-law's birthday. And he is, hold on, honey, your dad's 87, right? 86? 86 years old. So I'm like, I've said to him before, I was like, you're the only person I've met that I know of who is older than Batman by just a couple weeks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know if he appreciates that, but it's like, yeah, well, there you go.
I would take that as a compliment 100%.
Well, now,
I mean, hell, I'm older than dirt.
I know that you said you have a lot going on, but I have to say you are somebody who keeps very, very busy outside of Cooking with Stupid. He is a poet, which if I had planned this properly, I would have, of course, had my signed copy of his book up here with me, but we are where we are. He is an artiste, and again, Cooking with Stupid, hell of not only a great show because he's doing a lot of fun things for people, but an entertaining show. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, I guess, do you use art and writing, I guess, to kind of get out of your headspace or to just kind of distract yourself?
Yeah, I started painting way back in my 20s. I'm going to be 52 next month.
Wow.
But I started painting years and years and years and years ago. And I stopped. I painted for a few years. I just recently got back into it because during the pandemic, there's only so much gardening you can do. So I started painting again. And I painted a lot. Had a lot of free time. So that's another item that we sometimes throw in on my charity auctions. I'll have one of my paintings and just out the door it goes. I don't paint to become a famous artist like Greg Hildebrandt. I am no Picasso. It's, again, just like my show, it's just therapy to me. I'll put my earbuds in, depending on my mood and what I'm painting. I'm either listening to classical music or Nine Inch Nails. There's no in between.
They do have that kind of weird intersection at some point.
Yeah, you can mesh those two really easily. It's actually pretty cool. But yeah, so I do, like Bob Ross paintings, landscaping and whatnot. I'm working on doing some superhero paintings. It's something I'm working on down the line right now. I want to do some abstract kind of Frank Miller kind of vibes to them, like the broken silhouettes he did with Elektra and Daredevil. Something like that. But yeah, my artwork is just as therapeutic as doing my cooking show. I'm self-taught, like most kids my age back in the day, we all got chicken pox. So you stayed home. You had ginger ale, Bob Barker on The Price is Right, and Bob Ross. That's how we lived our lives back then. And it stuck with me. I've never been formally trained, just like my cooking. I'm not a chef. I'm not an artist either. Just because I put paint on a canvas doesn't make me an artist. Just like if I put a Band-Aid on somebody, it doesn't make me a doctor. But people say I'm an artist, so I'm not going to argue it.
There you go. And I could tell you how it's kind of interesting. There's like a little bolt of excitement, at least I could tell you on my end, and I would imagine on many viewers' ends, when on Facebook, you have to understand that Sean will put up like a picture of an empty canvas, like, this is what I'm doing today. And it's like, oh, I have to remember to go back and see what he did. And especially for somebody being self-taught, it's really good stuff, especially, I remember recently there was some landscape with, I feel like there was some mountainscape.
Yeah, the Aurora Borealis in the background.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wow. Just think, earlier that morning when he got up, that did not exist, and now here it is.
Yeah, it's weird with painting because I could do a painting, I could bang one out in like 20 minutes, or I could take months to do one. I'm currently working on one right now, and I've been staring at a blank canvas for about 3 weeks. That thing's just sitting on the easel, and I have an idea in my head, but it's getting what's up here to translate out to the canvas. That's the hard part. But give me a couple of days, I'll bang something.
Yeah, but too, that's kind of the cool thing about art too, is that you might do something and you feel like it's done, and then you come back a couple of years later to it and like, I remember I did this, but I wonder how it would look if I did this kind of variation on it. It's something that really,
right,
at least in my perspective, grows with you.
Right. Like I have, probably my biggest cheerleader is Scott Hanna. And every time I finish a painting, I'll just text him a picture. Him, Lloyd Brigery, and Jan Dursema. They're my go-to people. And Jan and Lloyd are always like, oh, that looks so great. And then Scott Hanna, here's what you did wrong. And I don't take it as bad criticism, because, Scott teaches art himself on top of being a renowned comic book artist. He actually teaches art classes as well. So I love that criticism because I have no idea what I'm doing. I have a whole collection of paints, a whole collection of brushes. Couldn't tell you what any of them do. I know what a fan brush is. After that, you ask me what a filbert brush is or a 2-inch flat. No idea. I take the brushes and I see what they can do. So far, it worked out pretty good.
And I think that's what it boils down to. You can say, hey, this is a whatever brush, but if it does what it needs you to do, it's the one you got to use. That's the bottom line.
Like I did a painting a couple of weeks ago, and I'm not lying. I swear to God, I did this. I used a toothbrush. I used crumbled up aluminum foil and a palette knife. That's all I used. And it actually came out pretty cool. So it's not just about paintbrushes. You know, it's like anything else in the world. No matter what you do in life, take a chance and see what works with what you have. You'd be surprised at what you could pull off just thinking outside the box on some weird stuff.
Yeah. I mean, look, and that's what it boils down to. You don't have to go to your Michaels or your Hobby Lobby or whatnot, or your Joann's and, spend. You look, if you have that creativity in you and you want to get it out, just find a way.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. I mean, like a lot of my recipes I do, thinking outside the box works a lot. Phil, you've had my cheeseburger bake, haven't you?
I haven't yet, only because the only time I've been in the presence of it is when it's Fat Moose's anniversary sale or anniversary party. And I'm always of the mindset, especially post-pandemic, like if I could get the first dip in, I'll try it. Other than that, just, I don't know. Maybe it's also, I shouldn't say it's from the pandemic, because working in an office building, going to the cafeteria, I've seen people like, oh, here's a big bowl of croutons. Let me just pick one out like you're at a party. No, just use the tongs, like that type of thing. So it always gives me a little pause. But it is something I'm like, one day I'm going to try. One day.
Yeah, whenever I bring that, because for the most part, it's a Fat Moose thing. It's tradition. He has something going on at the shop. I bring in a tray of the cheeseburger bake. And I get upset at everybody for just helping themselves. It's like, no. That's not here for you. Let me take care of that. But yeah, that recipe alone, that was an improv thing. Me and my wife one night, she wanted cheeseburger. She wanted burgers for dinner, but we didn't have 100% of the ingredients to make cheeseburgers, like buns. And the night before, I literally had a dream about this recipe. It was the weirdest thing, but yes, I dreamt up a recipe one night, and she wanted cheeseburgers. I saw what we had on hand at the house. One thing led to another. I improv. Boom, the cheeseburger bake was born. And it's ridiculous. Phil, you got to get a piece. It's ridiculously good. If you're on a diet, if you're on a diet, it's the worst thing you could possibly have. But damn, is it worth every bite?
See, some things you need to make an exception for. Like that's
right.
Like you say, hey, if you're on a diet, no, that's why you diet, so that you can enjoy the occasional indulgence like that. Now, if you're, just eating it out of a trough 6 days a week, maybe that's another story. But
we do a lot of fun with the recipes. We do some weird things on the show. I made sushi one time out of a Big Mac. That was an epic failure.
Yeah,
that one. I think that was one that got me waxed. I'm not sure. That I'm never doing that.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's no part of that sentence that just sounds appealing.
No, but we do Captain Crunch chicken on the show. We've done, honestly, and this one, it sounds weird, but it's so good. I made meatloaf one time. How boring could you be with meatloaf? But instead of using breadcrumbs, I crunched up a bag of Doritos. Oh my God, what a game changer that turned out to be.
I could see that.
Never using breadcrumbs again. It like just the texture and the flavor completely changed the game. I will never make meatloaf unless I use Doritos from now on.
Well, let me ask you something. Where do you apparently dream these good recipes? You get this kind of, we'll say, divine inspiration. Where do you get the ideas for the bad ones? Like the chortle still, I know I've mentioned it a couple times. It's just like, I can't even imagine even like those, everyone's so creative recipes, like thinking that up.
Well, most of my recipes work. There was one time, and I've done it twice now, and it's failed both times because I keep forgetting one intricate detail. I'd make a boil in a bag omelet. And it sounds disgusting, but it works every time. Except I keep forgetting every time we make it on the show, I have an electric stove and not a gas stove. So there's not that constant temperature being kept in the boiling water.
Oh.
Because, yeah. So I go to the first time we ever made it, and it's really simple. You get a pot with boiling water, you get a Ziploc bag, you put your eggs in there and whatever you want to make with your omelet, mushrooms, vegetables, sausage, what have you, and you just suspend it in the water. But because there's not that constant temperature going with a gas as opposed to electric, it didn't work out too well. So when I go to plate it, it came out great, and then it just like exploded on the plate. But it works. I've had some of my viewers actually send me pictures of, hey, I tried your boil in the bag thing. You just gotta add more time when it's an electric thing. I'm like, well, thank you for letting me know I screwed up my own show.
See, now, but that probably not this weekend, but now I've got to look into that.
Yeah, I mean, you go to our Facebook page, all of our past shows, they're all there in the video section. We just started doing YouTube stuff, slowly but surely. I know I was in a wrestling show a couple of years ago. One of my coworkers, my boss, he's actually a professional wrestler too. We had him on the show, and he goes, "Hey, do you want to be in a wrestling show?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I took a stunner in the middle of a ring. That was interesting. So I got beat up at a wrestling show. That was fun. Yeah, we're on a first name basis with the cops in our town too, because we've done some questionable things on the show. We did an episode once where we were cooking hot dogs with a flamethrower out back. Kind of forgot that we're really close to a major highway, so a lot of people are calling up, hey, there's like this 10-foot blue flame shooting out of the back of a house. Can you send a squad car over? And as soon as they knew what the address was, they're like, yeah, we'll be there in a minute.
Do they just come down like, what are you guys doing? Come on. Do you
have
any
like
cheeseburger for me?
Yeah, like they'll pull in the parking lot and like, really, Sean? Really? I'm like, what? You want a hot dog?
Oh, there you go.
But,
That's nice about it.
Yeah, they, when we do the episodes where I have to get shot with paintballs, I actually have to get permits for that. I have to teach a safety course for firearms because, thank you, New Jersey, they had to change the laws. So anything in the state of New Jersey now that fires a projectile over 75 miles per hour is considered a firearm. Yeah.
Good
so
to
like
know.
BB guns. Yeah, so again, I have to do a firearm safety training course for everybody that shows up in my house because I've been surrounded by guns for a long time now. I'm very savvy with a firearm. I'm not a dead shot by any chance, by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm pretty damn good. Chances are you break into my house, you're not leaving.
There you go.
Right. Thankfully, I've never had to do that. But yeah, it's just something. It's something special we do here. It's stupid, trust me, but it's something special too.
And it's all before people say, "Oh, come on, you're getting shot with a paintball gun." It's all in the name of charity, so it's all good.
It's everything we do, and we've been accused of taking money from people. When we do our auctions, we literally post the link for that charity on our page. So you click on the link, you follow the instructions on how to donate. I wipe my hands clean of the whole thing. It is a little disheartening though that we've had people in the past accuse us of stealing the money and everything. We don't.
No, not at all.
If you saw how I lived, I'm not stealing any money from anybody. You saw the car I was driving. I'm not stealing any money. We actually don't make a penny doing this show. We lose money when you think about it because we're putting out so much, to do these recipes, to get people on the show, stuff like that. I don't make a penny doing this. Like it's fun. That's all it comes down to. It's fun until you get whacked.
Yeah,
then it's not fun anymore.
No good deed goes unpunished, I guess, as they say.
Yeah.
So now we've talked a lot about comics today. We've talked about charity. We've talked about cooking. We've talked about your show. Are you up to take the 7-minute challenge?
I am prepared for the 7-minute challenge.
Okay. I'm going to start the annoyingly loud 7-minute clock. And my son is laughing in the background. And go ahead. You're on.
All right, 7 minutes. What do you want me to talk about in 7 minutes? I'll leave it up to everybody else out there.
Talk about how you got into comics.
Again, I was a kid, and it was an escapism for me. You know, I was getting bullied all the time and what have you. All kids get bullied. I mean, it's a lot worse now than it was back when I was a kid. But that was my escapism, was getting into these characters, looking at all this art, all these bright colors, all these interesting stories. And I wanted to be one of those characters. I wanted to be a superhero, so nobody would bother me ever again. I wanted to, you know, right the wrongs, and as cheesy as it sounds, but yeah, I wanted to be a superhero because I wanted to protect the innocent. And the best way to get out of my own problems, my own headspace, read a comic book, watch a Saturday morning cartoon. They really need to bring those back too. That was a heartbreaker to get rid of those. But yeah, comic books, it's the best drug you can ever take. It's just as expensive sometimes, especially when you start getting into CGC comic books. But if your kid is just sitting around, throw a comic book in front of them. They're college level reading. A lot of people don't know that. So every once in a while, there's a big word in there. I go look it up because I don't know what it means. I'm 52 years old, and even to this day, they'll throw a curveball in there. So it's a learning experience too. But yeah, I can't recommend comic books enough to somebody. Whether you're just starting out, you have a kid that you want to keep you occupied, don't give them a video game. Give them a comic book. It'll just open up a whole world of. I mean, it's reading a book with pictures. I don't read books. I read comic books. Same thing, technically. Just the words on paper. 7 minutes. Man, I can't talk about anything for 7 minutes. I can't even talk about myself for 7 minutes, Phil. No. You're killing.
Yeah. You know, I kind of think I said I thought when I said 7 minutes initially, I was like, oh, yeah, this will be a tough bar, and I was like, you know, a lot of people could fill in 7 minutes pretty easily. I'm thinking of taking a page though from your book and maybe doing like kind of like a Wheel of Doom thing where it's like, oh, okay, well for 7 minutes you have to talk about spin the wheel and this. But
you could do that.
Yeah, it's a raw idea. I have to flesh out. See what happens is I have these great ideas, and then after I turn off, it's like, oh, okay, adult things pop in now, or the occasional child running around in the background.
I mean, we always have great ideas in the show, and that always falls apart. My dog is a very good example of that. Sometimes she'll just sit in the background and be quiet the whole time, and other times she just barks her head off. And that's the fun thing about doing a live show, though, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, the best is he hasn't done it as much, but when my son was a lot younger, I'd be streaming, and he was just sitting watching. And I guess if I was being too boring, you would just hear a very small like, ah. All right,
yeah,
thanks,
we'll get the occasional barking here. I remember we were doing a show around Christmas time a few years ago, and all of a sudden we heard carolers outside of our house, and we're like, me and my wife Bobby were like, "What the hell is that?" It was a bunch of our viewers that showed up at our house, and they gifted us. One of the guys' wives made us scarves. She hand knitted us scarves. And they bought me a brand new grill.
Oh, wow.
You know me, I was ugly crying, and everybody was laughing at me. But it was very moving that, you know, these people went out of their way to do it. Kind of creepy. They found out where we lived, but it was really special that these people went out of their way, because, you know, they all lived in New Jersey, but, you know, one of the guys that came, he drove all the way up there from Tom's River. just to
Oh, wow.
gift us. Yeah, it was really special. We still have, I mean, the scarf, and they made she actually hand knitted my wife a big giant blanket, which she still uses to this day. So that was pretty neat. But yeah, we got some cool viewers. We got some weird ones. We've had to block a lot of people off the show for various reasons.
It happens.
Overall, all in all, I have a really good bunch of followers, and I really like that. We just announced it actually the other day. We're closing in on 2,000 followers, and once we hit that mark, we're just going to give something away on the show. What? I have no idea, but we'll give something away on the show. Might be one of my paintings. Yeah, might be a painting, might be a comic book. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. I got so much stuff in the house to give away, it's not even funny.
See, so YouTube, everybody watching here in the chat, and everybody, if this is your first time especially seeing Sean and hearing about Cooking with Stupid, go ahead and give him a follow on Facebook. Yeah. You never know. Maybe you will be the person who wins whatever he decides to give away. And if not, look, I can tell that you'll be entertained by his show. Maybe you might learn a new recipe that you might like, but you'll definitely be entertained. And again, once a month, it's usually the last show of the month, if I'm not mistaken, they do a charity auction, and hey, maybe pick up a book or two that you like, or a pop or so.
Yeah, we're doing. I got to look back at the calendar. May 26th is our charity auction for this month.
My birthday.
And 100. Oh, happy birthday on the 26th!
Thank you.
Our charity organization that we picked for May is the Hero Initiative. And for those of you guys who don't know what the Hero Initiative is, it's a nonprofit organization that was started up for all the men and women in the comic book industry. And they collect money throughout the entire year. If you ever been to a comic book show, you'll see every once in a while somebody has a little tip jar on their table, and it says Hero Initiative. If you have a couple of dollars, just throw it in there. Don't think about it, because all that money goes into this fund, and it helps out everybody in the comic book community in their financial times of need. I know the first one we ever did, all that money that we raised, it was just under $1,000, and it went to our good friend Chris Ivy, who at the time he had a heart attack, and he couldn't work, he couldn't do anything, so that money went right to him. But yeah, we've always done the Hero Initiative all the time. Every May, that one's set aside for them. In November, we always do Tanina'sReef.org for our good friend Chris Capana. We do, when we pick our charity auctions, we do a lot of research on them. We don't do the big internationally known ones, because most of those times 10 cents to every dollar that they raise actually goes towards the charity. So we do a lot of research. We do a lot of research on the charities, because the big ones, if you look at it, if it's a nonprofit, then why does the person running it have a $500,000 a year salary?
Yeah. I was involved with the Elks for several years, and I remember that was when I first got the opportunity to sit down and say, oh, okay, so at the time when we were looking, I don't know how it is now, when you donated money to an Elks charity, most of your donation, I should say, I think all, I don't know if that's still the case, got to where it was supposed to go. But then I saw they had a chart that was a breakdown of how much of your dollar really goes to where it needs to go. And it's a little disheartening. But I think it's important that we all educate ourselves for that. You were mentioning the Heroes Initiative. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, we pick and choose who we do now. We do a lot of local charities. We've done the Morristown PBA a couple of times. A lot of my friends are cops in Morristown. But yeah, it really takes a lot to research and look at, really get underneath some of these charities to see what's really going on. So, it sucks, but that's the world we live in today. Yeah.
Well, I think it's almost just about time for us to start coming in for a landing here.
Alrighty.
Again, big final kind of plug to everybody. Cooking with Stupid. Where and when and how can they find you?
So, Cooking with Stupid, again, we're live on Facebook every Sunday, Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know about this Sunday because I've been out of work all week because I really messed up my back. Hold on, give me a second. I've been walking around with a cane for the past couple of days right now. Yeah, thank God for edibles. But we do a live show every Sunday at 7 o'clock. We're also, like I said, we have a small YouTube thing we're starting out. We're on TikTok. God help me, I'm on TikTok. Instagram, you can follow us on Cooking with Stupid, the number 1. But yeah, for the most part, we do Facebook. Facebook's been changing their programming, shall we say, so we might start going more live on YouTube. Because the way it used to be formatted with Facebook, there was not a whole lot of lag. We could do horizontal camera angles. Now we can't. They have to be vertical, like you can see here. It's a pain in the butt. But we started on Facebook, so we're always going to stay on Facebook. Yeah, and like I said, this month it's going to be 7 o'clock, the 26th, our charity auction. Here's one example of a sketch cover that was done by Tom Rainey for us.
Nice.
Get my bad angle there.
That's perfect.
But we're doing a lot of sketch covers for this auction because, again, the HERE initiative helps out everybody in the comic book community. I probably have like about 8 sketch covers. They're all going out the door. And all that money just goes right back to helping them out. And it's cheesy as it's going to sound. I don't do this for followers. I don't do this for special recognition. I just do this because I like helping people. I don't need any bells and whistles and awards given to me for doing it. It's just something to do. If I can take one person out of their reality for 1 hour a week, it's all worth it to me. And I get to act like an idiot on TV.
Well, you get to do all those things, and I mean, as we've said many times, you're helping, and I think that's huge. Yeah. But,
coffee. Coffee makes the world go around. And if I got to plug one more thing too, so I'm drinking my coffee and my Fat Moose Comics, but one of our biggest supporters we've had on our show, and if you love coffee, I'm just going to throw this out there. Deadly Grounds Coffee, everybody. That's right, Deadly Grounds Coffee. Get yours at getdeadly.com. The best coffee I've ever had in my life. I'm going to get buried with a bag of this stuff, I swear to God.
I haven't tried them yet. I think the last time I was at Garden State Comic Fest, I almost bought a bag, and to be honest with you, I know it's not going to kill you, but the toe thing was like, give me this shit.
It was, it's so worth it. We're actually, I'm going to be saying this for the first time in public, letting you guys all know. So
Exclusive.
Deadly Grounds Coffee, again, they've been one of our best supporters for a few years now. We're coming up with our own Cooking with Stupid flavor that's going to be branded through Deadly Grounds Coffee. That's all I can say. It's been something we've been working on for the past 6 months now. We've been having test flavors coming back and forth, but it's going to be something really cool, something really special, and we're excited about when that finally rolls out. So yay, we're putting our big boy pants on and doing national stuff.
Okay, blink if I have it right. Is it cheeseburger flavored coffee?
I wish we could have pulled that off, but that would be more disgusting than some of the recipes we've done on the show. It's going to be a nice dessert flavor coffee. We'll say that.
There we go.
Yeah, it'll be a nice dessert flavor coffee. But Deadly Grounds Coffee, they have a wide selection of different flavors. And I'm not a flavored coffee guy. Just give me a coffee, light and sweet, get off my back. But they have, yes, I've had it. I'll say it here. Pumpkin spice coffee, and it was very, very good. I'm a Brittany. But yeah, a lot of different flavor coffees. We've actually used some of their coffees in some of our recipes on the show. It sounds like it wouldn't work, but we did the old fuck around and find out. We made it work somehow.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Well,
sure.
thank you very much for having me on.
No, thank
I
you
know
for coming on. Yeah, I mean, this is like I said, I wanted to have you on for a while, and I was finally like, you know what? Let's just do it. Why not?
Yeah. I had nothing else going on today except for painkillers.
There you go.
But so I definitely owe you a cheeseburger bake. And to all your followers out there, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Again, you can give us a follow, Cooking with Stupid, over on Facebook. There's the logo back there, so you know it's me. And yeah, good, clean fun. Do not have small children watching.
No, not at all.
And one last thing about what I do on the show, things I 100% don't care about. I don't care about who you share your bed with. I don't care about who you pray to. And I don't care about who you vote for. We will never talk about stuff like that on my show. It's just good, clean fun. We leave all that stuff outside. It has no place on our show. It's a cooking show. It's a comedy show. I don't care about what you do in your own lives. That's all you. I'm not gonna chastise you for being Catholic or Jewish, or if you're gay or straight, or if you identify as a toaster strudel. It doesn't affect my day. As long as you're happy with who you are, that's all that matters at the end of the day.
There we go. Can't say it any better than that, I think. I think he just had the perfect ending. Again, check out Cooking with Stupid on Facebook, soon to be YouTube, the Instagram machine,
Yep.
Cooking with Stupid 1. And I guess there's nothing else left to say to everyone here, but peace, love, and comics. Take care.
Yeah. Be good, everybody.